What's going on, Drinking Buddies? Brand new podcast. But real quick, before we get into it, you know what we got to do. We got to pay some bills. Let's get on with it. First and foremost, we are brought to you by the video version of this podcast. That's right. See the madness in full HD, ad-free, for $6 a month or 99 cents an episode. That's $6 a month right now gives you 83 episodes and counting. Or if there's just one episode you love, you can buy it, keep it forever for 99 cents. Check that out today at www.anwd.net/videos. Once again, that is www.anwd.net/videos. Did I mention there's nudity in some of them? We are also brought to you this week by the Twitch stream. That's right. I am a member of the You Laugh We Die network, and I stream multiple times a week on Twitch every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at twitch.tv/MattFandSlayer. Come hang out in the chat. Throw me some bits or a subscription if you can. Appreciate the hell out of you. We're having a lot of fun over there. And there's YouTube content also on the You Laugh We Die YouTube channel. So check out all the Twitch stuff. We're having a good time with it. And last but not least, we were brought to you by our friends at Vinyl Me Please. Vinyl Me Please is the Record of the Month Club, the best damn Record of the Month Club. In fact, every month, Vinyl Me Please releases one album that is essential to the modern vinyl collection. It includes things like bonus tracks, inserts, color variants, and comes packaged with a 12x12 album-inspired art print and custom cocktail pairing recipe. I've been talking about Vinyl Me Please forever because I believe in it. I believe you need rad vinyl in your life. So get that in your life today. Get it all up in you. Get the music. Feel it. At www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. Once again, that is www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. And speaking of music, my guest this week is recording artist Trent Razor. Trent and I go way back. He actually used to be Draven and Johnny Goodluck's roommate back in the day. This is a very music-heavy episode, but we really get into it, and it's a lot of fucking fun. It was good catching up with him, especially because he's on the East Coast these days. And be sure to check out his new music dropping in the next couple of days. Details are in the show notes. But in the meantime, sit back, relax, pop a cold one, and enjoy, Drinking Buddies. What the fuck's going on, man? How you been?
How's it going, Matt?
It's going well. You know, another beautiful day here in 2020. Woo!
Yes, sir.
LA just announced a new fucking stay-at-home order, so kicks off Monday. I wasn't going anywhere anyways. Fuck it.
I heard they shut down all dining. That's the start of it, huh?
Yeah, that started at time of recording like 2 days ago.
Okay.
And then they just announced today that Monday till December 20th, full-on stay-at-home order. Like, you're not even allowed to intermingle with anyone who's not of your household.
Jesus, until when?
December 20th.
December 20th. I wonder how... That's not affecting my flight, is it? Am I still good to come out and work?
I don't know.
Something I'll have to figure out here.
Yeah, because technically, like, I don't know. They didn't put retail on hold.
Okay.
Of course, because, you know, capitalism. It's like the holiday season. No. You got to still be able to spend.
Of course, yeah.
But
they can't have LA going broke.
Right. But, you know, I can't, like, technically by the letter of the law, if I wanted to, you know, go see someone, you know, of the fairer sex, technically that's against the rules if we don't live in the same household.
Gotcha.
So I'm allowed to buy that new Xbox, but I'm not allowed to get laid. Not right.
No house calls, huh? That's crazy.
Right. So what are you drinking tonight? No.
Let's see. I'm thinking definitely rum. You know, it's always rum with me, or gin. But I'm thinking bamboo tonight.
Nice. I am drinking W.O. Weller's Special Reserve.
Oh, I saw you got like a whole case of that shit, right?
Yeah, so one of my guys in Texas like decided to hook it up.
We taking shots, or are we making a mixed drink?
I am just drinking it on the rocks.
All right, I'm gonna start with a shot then.
Well, I can pour myself a shot too. I have Elijah Craig, which I regularly shoot.
All right,
we'll just chase whiskey with whiskey. You know how we do.
There you go. Keep it consistent.
Exactly. So what has all been going on with you out in the East Coast?
Man,
cheers.
2020. Cheers, my bro. 2020 has been like a year of just rebuilding and re-strategizing. Obviously, the music industry is in complete disarray.
Completely.
I feel like we just got adjusted to streaming, where it was like, oh, you guys can't sell records anymore. The only way to make money is live performances and merch. And now they're like, well, you can't sell records anymore and you can't perform live, so hope you got a dope merch line.
Right. Well, and I know some musicians have turned to like streaming like performances on Twitch and Facebook and shit like that and selling tickets, but you really got to have some production value and really know what you're doing to make that like worth the cost of admission for people.
I look at that as a step backwards for me personally, because it's like performances online have always been free. You know what I mean? All my favorite bands, when I see them perform live on KEXP or for Vivo or for anything, it's always free.
Yeah.
So to tell me, hey, our industry's fucked up, so that shit that we were giving you for free, can you pay for it now? You're either A, asking for donations, which is fair. Like, I don't hate on anybody for that if you want to ask for a donation. But if you're going to charge somebody for something that was free 6 months ago, you're a fucking scrub.
Well, it's the same problem that affected the news media, the print news media. When online news reporting first came out, the newspapers are like, this internet thing? Yeah, we'll put the articles online for free.
Right.
And then all of a sudden people are like, well, why the fuck do we need a newspaper? It's right here on the web. And they're like, right. What the fuck do we do now?
And sell advertising. Stop fucking whoring the people out. Like, I think it's so dumb when I see a Wall Street Journal ad. It's like, subscribe for $14.99. I'm like, fuck off. Like, you can't get Budweiser to sell you some advertising space on this page. You got to charge me. Fucking stupid.
But I think that's because we came to the expectation of it being free. If they had charged for it from day one, we wouldn't think it was out of the ordinary.
Oh, yeah, no, facts. That's true.
I mean, it's just how the music industry, kind of fucked up in giving away those performances for free too, because they just looked at it like music videos, where like no one charged to watch a fucking music video. Right. So. Well,
there's multiple facets to that. What we're getting for free, with like a Vivo performance or like a Triple J performance, stuff like that. That stuff a lot of times isn't free. We're just not paying for it. Right. Someone is paying for that. And I think that maybe was how it kind of should be, because what's happening here is that's a marketing and a promotional tool. But now they're trying to take something that was the marketing and promotional tool and turn it into something that they're charging admission for. Well, I personally am not a fan of that idea.
I'm not a huge fan of it either, but it also changes because of the demographics of how the industry monetizes. Back in the day, the label would happily pick up the tab for your video or pick up the tab for all these promotional things because it sold units. And since physical media sales are down, labels don't have that kind of money to just be like, yeah, we'll give you fucking $1 million to shoot a video with.
Yeah, I think being creative is the answer. Like, there's a lot of cool bands that are doing things. And like I said, your merch is also a huge answer to these kind of things, because the markup on a t-shirt is going to beat most things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to spill numbers because I run traderthreads.com and I'm out here selling shirts, but that markup is going to be way more lucrative for me than streaming ever will, than pressing up vinyl, even though that's another good one. I've seen bands like Glass Animals make a lot of money, doing things like, hey, we've got 4 limited edition vinyls that we're putting out this year, or King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. They're another one. These kind of bands that are thinking outside the box and saying, like, instead of trying to sell what everyone else is already giving out for free, let's kind of come up with something that no one else is giving out at all that makes our fans and our following kind of feel special, and get something that has actual value. And I think, you know, thinking forward instead of thinking backwards is always, for me, just going to win out over time.
Oh, you have to. It's really, as technology gets more and more advanced, it's definitely adapt or die. And that's part of the reason that major labels fucking failing. Because, like, why do you, in this day and age, why do you need a major label except for their marketing arm? That's the only reason to be on a major label. And if you really want to hustle, you could accomplish most of that shit on your own anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. Who do you know of that has really broken into the mainstream without being on a major label? Because I think this is one of those things that there's a lot less than people think, because the labels caught on that that's a hot story to tell. So the labels will be like, this person blew up without a label. Meanwhile, the label's funding them, knowing that there's something in the works.
Or they'll do something like fucking Paramore, where they put them on, I think it was Universal, put them on Fueled by Ramen.
Right.
So they're like, oh,
put
no,
them on a smaller label, but they're distributed, and all the marketing dollars are still coming from the same fucking company.
Right.
Because it's really hard, man. Like, the labels still, as much as, you know, we can say labels are failing or whatever, they're not. The labels aren't failing because the labels are owned by huge fucking companies. The parent companies of the labels are doing just fine, and the labels are recouping huge amounts of money through advertising and through endorsements. That's like the future of all this shit. Is, like I was saying earlier, you know, you get Budweiser to pick up Post Malone. You ever notice that Post Malone's got Bud Light in everything he's doing? Well, that's where the future is, and the labels know it already. Just like the cigarette companies know to invest in big tobacco, the labels know, like, hey, these artists and their tours, that shit could go away tomorrow. But if they're endorsing Bud Light, or if they're like The Weeknd doing Mercedes-Benz, this is a partnership that's going to last beyond that artist.
Well, on the metal side of things, Jägermeister and Jack Daniels has been doing that forever.
Okay.
Like, Jaeger used to, there used to be whole fucking metal tours sponsored by Jaeger.
Oh, yeah, I do remember Jaeger sponsoring lots of concerts. That's pretty sick.
Right. I mean, that's just been going on forever. I mean, I've said this plenty of times. The Napster, LimeWire, piracy revolution, all it did was made it so labels were less willing to take chances on artists. They're going to get theirs. That's why we started seeing the birth of 360 deals. You know, back in the day, labels didn't take shit from your merch. They didn't take shit from your tour.
Right.
Now you get artists signing the 360 deals because the labels are going to make their fucking money.
Yeah. No doubt. And
they're just not
the
gonna
hardest part, man, is that they really have all the press tied up pretty tight. Like, unless you've got some money to really get press, or unless you're going to, like, virally blow up and then some kind of press is going to pick you up. I mean, the term viral even anymore, there's bands with millions of views on their videos that still aren't breaking into the mainstream because no one in the mainstream is picking them up. You know, unless Ellen is putting you on her show, or, you know, in my realm, unless like The Source or Double XL Magazine are giving you like cover features. You know what I mean? Like, writing an article, they write 500 articles a day. Unless you're getting some kind of like big, we're going to work with you, we're going to push you consistently, not one post, not one article. We're going to like help build your timeline of, on this day he dropped this, and on this day he dropped this, and on this day he did a video. And like, they're not working with you if you're not on a label. Or unless you got like $100,000 or something.
Right. Well, and that's where the label comes in, is because they have those relationships. You know, one of my guys here in LA, like, he works for an indie label, and his whole job when he started the label was to go to radio stations around the country and basically glad hand, you know, program directors to get their artists played. That's his whole fucking job.
Yeah.
To go to all these markets and be like, hey man, good to see you. Let me take you out to dinner. Have you heard our new album? Like, that's what the labels are still good for.
Send me his info. I need him. I need him. I'm going to put him on the payroll.
Yeah, he is a VP at that label these days, so I mean, I'll introduce you, but...
Well, fuck it. He can put me on the payroll then.
Yeah. But I mean, that's where the labels come in, like those connections and those relationships. Because if he was just some dude like who worked for you, he might not even make it in the door to talk to that program director. But they see the card of like VP of X label. I'm not going to name drop who he is, but
sure.
Like they're like, oh yeah, we'll take lunch, and then he's been doing it for so long because that friend actually came from a big indie label to another big indie label to a current big indie label he's not working for. So he's got years of those relationships, and those are the type of people that labels employ. They're just like, oh yeah, you've been doing this for so long, and you've been the radio guy at all these. Yeah, we got a job for you.
No doubt.
Yeah, you can get a ton of press, but at the end of the day, it's going to take a grind and a lot of fucking money. And I don't even know how you yes, the internet's awesome. The internet will get you out to places, but the internet isn't the same as like actually putting asses in seats.
Yeah, and also the internet is like the highway. The highway doesn't get you anywhere. You go places on the highway. So people think like, hey, I'm going to put my video on the internet and I'm going to blow up. That's like saying I'm going to put my car on the interstate and I'm going to go. So nah, bitch, you got to fucking steer. You got to put on the gas. You got to have fuel in the tank. Like, it's not just putting your shit on the internet and all of a sudden you go viral. I mean, maybe that's happened for someone.
If you're dumb lucky, like that's like winning the lottery. But on top of it, it's like, oh, you made to where you're going. Did any of the other motorists fucking notice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
Not to mention that consistency these days rules everything. Like I have a friend, I have a colleague, I should say, whose wife has an Etsy shop. And he was telling me today, he's like, man, the problem is if she doesn't put something new for sale on Etsy every single day, she gets lost in the feed and she doesn't make any sales. So we've resorted to now like deleting things out of our shop and putting them back in our shop if we don't have something new to sell, just to keep up with the algorithm. And it's like when you get to things like press without that label type relationship, let's say you can afford to spend $5,000 to get in this like well-known online publication with a huge following. How many times in a year can you afford to do that for how many years? Like, how do you stay consistent? How do you work the algorithm? I mean, how many times do you hear a song you like, but it's not that first song or that second song or that third song? It's like the fifth song you hear from an artist and you're like, all right, now I'm a fan. Now that I've heard that this person delivers consistently, now I'm going to invest in them because I see that they're working. That kind of work is costly. You know what I mean? And that kind of consistency, unless you have the labels gatekeeping for you and pushing you, is that's kind of what 2020 has been all about for me, is looking at this realistically and being like, all right, how do I formulate a plan with this new label that I'm working with?
No, I totally get that. And you're 100% correct. It is so about consistency, especially in the era of algorithms. Like YouTube, unless you are uploading on at least one video a week, you might as well not exist.
Right.
It's just, you got to keep putting content out there.
Yeah.
And if you're doing music, you better be ready to hold a camera, fucking get some video editing done. You can't just put out music. No one's going to pay attention to what you put on the internet if it's just music. Yep.
It's crazy. You need to sell the whole image, and I don't know. It's wild. But it's good though, because it's making everyone work for it, which I think is not a bad thing. And it's also keeping people honest to a certain degree, where it's like the people that, really want to do this are going to find a way to do it. And the people that were kind of just doing it for the clout, a lot of times, either someone's going to help them out and they're going to make it too. But on your own, nobody's out here breaking their back unless they are passionate and they love this shit. And the way I describe it to people is like, I don't know what I would do if I wasn't producing music. Like I would just feel not right. I would feel weird in my own skin if I wasn't doing some kind of music production.
Hell yeah. The way I look at it is modern music production, modern entertainment production is a double-edged sword. Because it used to be back in the day, like, you could be playing a club and some A&R guy might see you and try to develop you. But since the labels don't have the money to want to take a risk on people anymore, they're pretty much just picking up people that have developed some sort of following on their own, no matter how they've done it. So it's like...
And then they're leaving them in artist development for like 10 years anyway.
Yeah. 100%. Like, oh, hey, go produce some beats for someone who's already established. Go do backup vocals for someone who's already established.
Let me find out this is the podcast that's going to get me blackballed from the industry. I'm over here talking all this shit.
You wouldn't be the first person that this show has gotten in trouble in their respective industries. That's kind of how it rolls sometimes. Like, I'm completely unemployable in everything because of this fucking show. So,
oh shit! Cheers! I'll drink to that.
Hell yeah!
Where's the camera at? There it is. I'll wait for you.
Cheers!
Salute!
Boom! But it's that grind. It's 100% that grind. You have to be willing to stay in it for the long haul. There was never any instant fame in music. Like, it blew my mind when I started working in music and just coming to the realization, like, when you hear about a young new act, generally those motherfuckers are in their 30s.
Right.
Like, oh my God, check out this new band. Like, those guys are in their mid-30s because they've been at it grinding for so fucking long.
Sure. Or it's a new band made up of seasoned musicians that have been in like 5 other bands each.
That you've never heard of. Unless you're like a diehard fan, you're like, oh yeah, I heard that one-off vinyl pressing of shit like that. Like, the amount of people that are fucking Billie Eilish are like her. You know, like...
Not to mention that her brother was already doing production for other people before she popped off. So that's another example.
But if you look at like all the old school young stars, it's like, most of them came out of Mickey Mouse Club, like Britney, Justin.
Oh yeah, okay.
Aguilera,
We're gonna taking it back to the '90s here. We're dating ourselves, man.
We're dating ourselves, but like, because when you think of, I don't know who, I'm fucking old. I don't know who a young artist is these days except Billie Eilish.
How old are you?
I'm 39, man.
Oh, all right.
I'm an old motherfucker these days. I'm about to be 40. Like,
time for a humane death soon.
Right? Put me the fuck down. But, you know, even like, okay, what, Justin Bieber was a fucking YouTube sensation, but he had professional management before.
Oh, dude, Usher was already hot on his tail before any of that shit.
Right.
Got big.
But that's also a one-off artist being like, oh, I can make something out of you. That's a dumb luck lottery win.
Yeah, but once again, they definitely played it up like no one was involved in the early stages. And that's the type of thing I'm talking about. It's like these labels got smart to the underdog story. And they were like, yo, when we're investing in these new people, we're advertising them as like unsigned. No one's got a contract on this kid. He's out here. He's gone rogue. Like, but in the back end, this shit's already all worked out.
Well, it's the same like American Idol bullshit. Like, that's what made American Idol so fucking big. Is like, oh, look at all these unknowns that are going to be rich and famous. And like, I don't keep up on any of like the Idol winners, but like most of them like were working musicians in some, like the winners were working musicians in some level. They weren't like just like your waitress who had a good voice.
Right.
And then they got signed to wildly unfair contracts.
Yeah, I can't really remember anyone outside of like the first few seasons, which now I'm dating myself. But I remember Kelly Clarkson. I watched Kelly Clarkson on American Idol, so that tells you how old I am.
Yeah, well, yeah, but Kelly Clarkson, she was a working musician before she won Idol, wasn't she?
I have no idea. I was pretty young.
Well, I mean, I wasn't. Dude, that was like fucking 15 years ago. We're going to Google Kelly Clarkson real quick. I mean, Kelly's a year younger than me.
Google Kelly Clarkson weight fluctuation. It's wild.
No, I'm not going to talk about her, you know.
I'm not going to fat shame anyone, but I think when anyone like goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth every couple years, it's really, really interesting to watch. That whole Jonah Hill type vibe.
Well,
like that's just a wild. You're taking my heartstrings, and you're just like taking me on a wild roller coaster over here. I'm rooting for you. What are you doing?
But she had, you know, multiple kids. Yeah, that shit happens. She's a fucking adult. You You know, she's an adult. She's a real person. Yeah. Yeah, she financed a demo before American Idol. Like, she was a working musician.
Okay.
So, like,
all right.
Yeah, she might not have been a wildly successful working musician, but she was a working musician. Like, she was at least pursuing it professionally. If you spent the money, especially in those days, for studio time to fucking put out a demo, you were trying to do something with it.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
That's the crazy part about 2020. It's like, we are in the era that is the fucking easiest to make your own content.
Yes.
Hell, what we're doing right now, 15 years ago would have been prohibitively fucking expensive.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. It is wild too, because I feel like that has made people, I feel like it was easier to imitate other people's content and get paid for it before, because you still had to grapple with the cost of producing the content. So for example, if Sublime was the big band at the time and you were a band that was local that sounded like fucking Sublime, you still had to have thousands of dollars to go in there and cut a record. So it was easier to pop off as a band that was ripping off another band. But now that everyone has a MacBook and a blue microphone from Guitar Center, and anyone can download plugins from waves.com and get a Pro Tools demo, it's a little bit harder to make a Post Malone ripoff record and get famous, because now, like, there's a demand for being yourself a little bit, a demand for having your own niche, a demand for authenticity. And once again, thinking forward, I think that's a good thing.
Oh, I think it is too. It should be. It gives access for more people who are original voices to fucking make something. Because if you were some fucking, if you grew up impoverished, you had no fucking chance unless someone discovered you to finance fucking going into the studio. I remember booking studio time for people in the mid 2000s, and a reasonably priced studio, like not a major studio, but like a reasonably priced studio, was still billing me out $125 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably
I remember when I first got started in this music shit, I was working 2 jobs and hustling on the side, and basically was spending like most of my money on studio time. And that's when we had to get smart, and we had to, I had to learn things about recording myself. I had to learn things about mixing and producing. And honestly, it led me down the path that I'm on now, just being like, I can't work at California Pizza Kitchen and another spot and be selling grass just to pay for the studio time. Like, something's got to give. Like, I got to be smart. And that's another thing that I think is cool is, constantly reevaluating ways to save money as a musician without sacrificing that quality is another really cool thing. Like, we've gotten now to the point with my label where I have 3 different studios in my home. One is a complete full studio that I'm sitting in right now with an isolated vocal booth. The whole room is treated with these acoustic panels, so there's no echo or reverb in here. There's an acoustic piano.
Hit you a little right now. Hit you a little.
Dude, it's wild. We got all the guitars, all the amps, everything. Then we have a beat production studio, and then we turn the living room into a full band setup with a live drum kit, a 24-track digital recorder that records in all separates, all that shit. So basically, 85% of the recording process happens in this building. And then we go to, someone that's got the awards and the nominations and all that. And I go, hey, here's everything that I've done and how I think it should sound. Fix, if my EQ, if the S's are a little fucked up on Trevor's vocals, help me out here. You know what I mean? And they round things off. And luckily I work with someone extremely talented, Steve Wright at Right Way Studios. And he'll even like teach me stuff because, he knows the deal. It's good. It's good that we're moving into an era where it's like, you got to get creative with it. You got to figure out how you're going to edge the competition, and you got to figure out the ways that you're going to save yourself some money. Because if you're not putting 70% of your total budget into marketing, you're never going anywhere, period.
Oh, I agree. And even if you are, it's still a fucking grind because
if you are putting 70% of your budget into marketing, you're spending a lot of time creating marketable content. That's for sure. Yeah.
It's exhausting. For myself, I'm not in music, but I do this. I'm doing fucking Twitch streaming. I'm creating YouTube content these days, and I'm fucking editing for other people. It's just like, it's constant. I was editing something until like 5 minutes before we got on. Like, gotta make this.
I was watching Black Mirror.
Nice. Yeah, I know you want to do this earlier. I'm like, nope. I got a client video I gotta edit. I got content for myself I gotta edit. I'm like, can't do it a minute before.
No sweat off my back, man. I could do either one. I had a post-production meeting with one of my artists, and then I had like an hour to kill before we got on, so I threw Black Mirror on and was having a little nostalgia. I haven't seen this show in a minute.
So who's on the label these days? Shit. Tell me about the fucking label.
So first things first, December 7th, I'm dropping my EP Orphans. Basically, we have a ton of music we recorded in 2020 that's all coming out next year in 2021. And we were like, what are we going to do with the songs from before 2020 that we really fucking like that don't have a home? They don't have any album. They don't have any project. Should we release single after single after single? And I kind of came up with this idea of like, yo, let me get all my favorite songs that I've done with like my favorite people in the last couple years and just throw them together, mix and master it in a way that it feels somewhat cohesive. And that shit's coming out December 7th, Orphans. It's got Tay-Rock, the battle rapper, on there. It's got Shame and Piff from Man What. It's got Rob Scholar, who's my talented videographer and like just one of my right-hand men when it comes to like all my content. My dude Trevor Thompson, who's our in-house beat maker and basically our flagship artist, is on there, and a couple other familiar faces.
Still owes me a podcast at some point.
Hey, his EP Feed the Fish comes out in February, so before February he's got to get on with you.
So a little inside baseball. We recorded a podcast with Trevor like fucking 4 years ago at this point that never aired.
All right.
Remember that? It was at the house.
I remember. Yeah. I'm wondering if you're going to tell the people any more than that.
It never aired. I'm not going to, it never fucking aired, but Trevor's like, yeah, I'm going to come back and do the show. And it's been 4 years. It's been 4 years and 2 co-hosts. Still no Trevor. Yeah. So I'm gonna throw a little shade that way. A little shade, a little.
Well, he is here, and he's for legal reasons not allowed to leave the state. So that's why he hasn't been there in the past couple of years. But now that we're all zooming it up, I'm sure it'll be no problem to get him on there for you.
Hell yeah. No, because that was a fun show, and it was a giant bummer that we didn't get to air it.
Yeah, I don't remember why it didn't air. Can we talk about it?
I don't really remember either. I just got a fucking... Right. I got a call like fucking... What? Like under 24 hours before fucking airtime. Like, we got to pull that.
From us?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't remember. Maybe dates got screwed up. Maybe like we were talking about releasing something and we had to push something back.
I don't remember. I still actually have the original audio somewhere because I don't delete shit.
That'd be fun to listen to. I wonder what that was like.
I can send it over
crazy,
to you.
Man.
I unfortunately can't air it because that's original co-host era, and like I don't know how she would feel about me airing something with her on it.
Yeah. I honestly, was I in the room or was it just you guys?
I'm pretty sure you were there.
All right, because I remember doing the podcast with you, Josh, and a lovely young lady whose name I don't remember, right before Bonafide Fabian's EP came out.
That I drank a lot. This obviously sometime in 2016 because that's when
that sounds about right.
Well, it had to be because me and Draven and Johnny Goodluck parted ways in early 2017. So
okay, yeah, that sounds about right. So have you been doing the podcast by yourself?
So we had Annie Cruz stepped in as my co-host from like April of 17 to like October of 17, and then I've been doing it solo since.
Nice. I mean, hey, there's this book I'm reading, and it's called Live Your Dream. It's just one of those books you buy in the airport when you don't have shit to do. And the first chapter is basically like, yo, if you want to do anything, do it by yourself. And I was like, that's a crazy way to start a book, is to tell people not to like have a business partner. But the first chapter of this book is basically straightforward, being like, do not have a business partner. Like, hold yourself accountable, do shit yourself, and just grind it out.
I agree with that. And
it took me years, but I do too.
I have constantly professionally made that mistake. Like
Me fucking too.
when I started my label, like
Take a shot.
all right, we'll do another shot. I mean, you know, I ran a label in like the mid 2000s. I ran a small metal label in Chicago.
Yeah.
So when I started that, I technically started it with 2 friends. It very quickly became, cheers.
Amen.
It very quickly became me doing everything and my vice president having cards printed. He had business cards. That's about the extent of the work he put in.
Shots fired.
Yeah, it's whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Like,
Right.
it was my dream. It was my fucking like, I want to do this, dude. You should help me. You know, at the time we started the label, like I started the label and brought him along as a. I hate my fucking day job. Well, what do I enjoy doing? Well, I enjoy seeing live music. Well, I have no musical talent. How the fuck do I make a living out of seeing live music? Oh, run a label.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, he really, except for coming along for a couple meetings when we were recording artists, didn't do anything in the 3.5 years that I was running that label. No hard feelings. Like, it is what it is.
Yep.
And then when I decided that I wanted to start this podcast, I wrote, I pitched it to Draven. And that was good for a while. Then it wasn't. Like, no hard feelings there. We went separate ways. But instead of just going out on my own at that point, I'm like, Cruz, you're my homie. You do radio already. Like, come be my new co-host. And
it gets rough, man.
And like Cruz and I went like separate ways for other reasons. She was just too busy to do the show.
Right.
And then, here I am, fucking, Jesus, been 3 whole years without a co-host at this point. Still releasing a new show every week.
You're still doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what it really all boils down to. Like, at this point, I would consider Trevor like a business partner. But if Trevor decided to leave tomorrow, the trajectory that my label is on would not have to change. You know what I'm saying? So you asked who's on the label right now. So we have Bonafide Fabian. That is our indie psychedelic artist. He's really dope. It's kind of like you pulled somebody like straight out of the late 60s, early 70s and put him in the studio with us. He's super cool. He's getting ready to release his second EP this summer.
Nice.
On the hip hop side of things, hip hop pop, kind of like, what we call hip hop today. We've got Trevor Thompson. He's also killing it, making beats for himself and for other artists. I'm releasing music. I just signed a new band in LA. I'm not talking about what their name is yet, but their debut is going to be out in March.
Come on, give me the scoop for old time's sake. Give me the scoop.
I really can't tell you too much.
Well, you can give me a name, right? Or they're not under contract yet?
No, they're under contract, but I don't want to. They don't have anything out on the internet yet. So instead of like putting names out there,
okay. Well, at least tell me what they're about. Tell me what they're about.
So it's psychedelic music, but it's not heralding back to the 60s and 70s in the way that Bonafide Fabian does. It's more looking towards the future, and it's more rooted in maybe like 90s pop sensibility and forward. So it's male vocals, a lot of synthesizers, a little bit of hip hop influence, a little bit of psychedelic influence. It's pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
How long have they been playing together?
We're getting into territory that I can't say too much more.
I gotta push a little.
That one we'll have to get them on the show later though.
Hey, I'm always down. I'm always down.
Yeah, they're playing up the fact that they have a little mystery going on. So, and then in addition to that, I still have TRP, which is all the homies that I've been making hip hop, R&B, and pop music with here in Baltimore. Young artist named Drist, who put out a pretty successful video with Trevor earlier this year called Run It Up. And then my own music, man, which I stepped away for like 7 years because I was producing for a lot of other people and kind of trying to figure out the business side of things. And 2020 is the first year that I've dropped something, this Orphans tape on the 7th. And I've got 2 more tapes in 2021 that will be out here. So it's pretty exciting. It's a lot of fun, man. Like getting back to what I actually love about the business and not just doing, not to sound selfish, but not just doing everything for everybody else. Doing a little bit of this for myself again is fun.
It's crazy. Like most people who don't work in music or have never worked in music don't understand the complexities that go into the business of music. The business of music's fucking crazy. It's like, oh, hey, you know, you have the mechanical rights and the publishing rights and like the various different levels of, you know, how everyone gets paid, and it's so insanely complex. Like, and it's intentionally complex.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like, I understand that it would be rad to be like, just take a step back and actually like do something creative, do something fucking fun.
Yeah. Luckily, well, I don't know if I should say luckily. I've been able to stay on the creative side of things for a really long time, but I've also kind of taken a look at all of this as I've done that and said, you know, hey, yeah, I've got my production credits up a bit, and I've definitely gotten my abilities, like honed my skills like a madman. But have I moved forward with this as a business in the last couple years, or have I just worked on myself ultimately? You know what I mean? Become a better producer, become better understanding of music theory. You know, my repertoire of artists I've worked with has expanded. So now I'm really trying to take 2021 and be like, all right, let's fuck around and treat this like a business. That, you know, granted, I'm great friends with all the people on the label, but let's look at this like I would look at any other business. Let's just pretend that I'm buying some fucking garbage bags from China and selling them on Amazon, and let me be the very best at marketing and selling the shit that I fuck with and that I really believe in. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying the hell out of making this shit. I got to get better at promoting and marketing the shit.
Well, and one thing that I personally ran into that I had problems as a label head, which I don't know if you run into yet, hopefully you never have to, is like sometimes I had to make decisions that were, I had to choose between my artist and the business, the label itself. Like those were rough choices. That's ultimately like why I didn't enjoy being a label head. I mean, I enjoyed the fuck out of it at times. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like, oh my God, I hate this, but especially at the small level like that you're operating at, that I was operating at, like you have personal relationships with every one of your fucking artists.
Sure.
And it was like, oh shit, I got to make this choice that like either benefits my artist or benefits my business. Like, which one do I make? And those were rough fucking choices.
Well, I mean, luckily the way that our shit is set up is that I truly believe that anything that benefits our label is what's best for our artists. The only artists that I have problems with them seeing eye to eye with me or like trusting my instincts is Trevor. And I think that's also because of the dynamic of our friendship. You know what I mean? We're competitive with each other naturally. So sometimes we get into those things where he's like, you know, I think we could just do blah, 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 blah. And me with like 10 more years experience in the industry with him, I'm like, you can't. So we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to do what I know is beneficial for you, the artist, and we're going to do this. And not that I'm always right and he's always wrong, because that's not how it is. Sometimes he'll say something to me and I'll be like, fuck, I never really thought about that. But that does seem forward thinking and it does seem like something we haven't tried before. Let's fucking do it. But either way, I'm really blessed to be working with a lot of people that know that the money that's being put into this is my money. They know that I'm out here taking the money that I've worked hard for and investing in their careers. And they know like, hey, he's not trying to dick around with his own money. He's trying to like do what he can do and make this work out as best as possible. So there's a lot of trust and ironclad contracts. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Oh, I definitely know it. I know what you mean on the contract front, but like, oh my God, dude, I have horror stories from some of the artists I worked with. Like, I love most of them to death, but I had one band I was working with, like, where they didn't seem to acknowledge the fact that, like, the label was me and I was a dude working the label and a 60-hour-a-week day job. Like, I did nothing but work in those days to try to support the fucking label. And, like, hey, can you assholes go promote your gig? Your unemployed drummer who lives with his parents?
They never will. You have to understand that, though. I've come to that realization in 2020. No artist is ever going to promote themselves well. And there's a correlation with another thing that I've noticed. No artist can mix their own vocals. It's impossible, yo. You try to get any artist to mix their own vocal, it doesn't work, because the way that we all hear our own voices resonating in our skull is different from how everyone else hears our voices.
100%.
And there's a correlation there. The way that these artists see themselves is different. They don't know how to market themselves because all they see is the whole process, every little stitch they put into it, and they just can't. They can't market themselves. So you have to go into it understanding like Bonafide Fabian is never going to make 6 posts in the 5 days before a gig to get people to go to the gig. It's going to be up to the guys in the band. It's going to be up to the label. It's going to be up to some fucking paid Facebook ads and Google ads and word of mouth of the people that fuck with Bonafide Fabian to make this show work. And that's just part of it. It would also seem a little bit weird. I mean, it screams, I'm local, I need help, when an artist is promoting themselves too much. I don't think it's necessarily a good look. I think it's a good look when the people surrounding the artist kind of push them up.
Right. Well, I 100% agree. 100% agree. It definitely looks local, but at the end of the day, like some of the artists I was working with, they were fucking local. They're regional acts. Like, I'm one guy, and I didn't have the fucking, this is, 15 years ago, so there was no, like, we were in the MySpace era. There was no fucking, like, pushing it out that way. You had to go out in front of shows and fucking hand out fucking flyers. You need to go to, be out, standing outside the venue of a national act that sounded like you, and be like, come check us out, come check us out, come check us out. Because everyone in the
worked?
It did. It did, but when people actually
I've never adopted that strategy, but I believe you that it worked.
I mean, this is also 15 years ago. Today, I don't think that would fucking work.
Yeah.
Like, today, people would be like, what the fuck? Like, physically flyering, but in those days, the difference between people RSVPing on MySpace doing an event versus, like, Facebook posts and digital ads and all that fucking shit, it was a different fucking era. Well, if I was doing it today, I wouldn't be like, yo, man, why are you not flyering?
Right. So I'm trying to think. 15 years ago, that's what, 2005? Yep. Okay, so I wasn't really doing too much then. I think my shit started picking up around 2009, and people were still flyering a lot. But I knew early on, for me, it was make a killer video, promote the video, and then just be out there. Like in the early days of Facebook, I think is when like I started really getting to it, because Facebook in this time period, you had to have a college email to sign up for Facebook. You couldn't just be on Facebook. Shit. Yeah. You had to have a college email. So I remember I was using my my ex-girlfriend's email, who went to college because I did not. And I was
I didn't go to a day of fucking college either.
Yeah, I did go to college for 2 semesters to prove to my parents that I was smart. That's later on. That's in my mid-20s.
I didn't give a fuck about proving shit to my parents. Not a day.
Oh yeah.
But I also had the drawback of being a working IT professional in the late 90s.
Okay.
Like, I was working in IT before I graduated high school. So I'm like, I'm an IT professional. I got the world by the balls. And then the .com bubble burst, and fucking the strange trip that got me here is here.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, it was weird. My relationship with my parents was like, they kind of looked at music as like, you failed at high school and you didn't go to college, and that's why you make music. And I feel like there was like a 3-step process in turning their brain around. The first thing that I did, and this is all, years later, I went to school for 2 semesters, got on the dean's list, and didn't tell them I was going back to school. I just went. And then I just sent them the letter from the dean and the grades. And I was like, hey, I'm never going back, but this is just to let you know that this is something I can do, and I can do it well. And then step 2 was working with a Grammy-nominated artist, being an executive producer on the album, and like letting them see that this isn't just something fun or like a pipe dream, but this is like a fucking business. And then step 3 was them seeing my clothing line, Trader Threads, kind of moving on its own and bringing in money, and seeing that, you know, I'm not just out here getting stoned in the studio making songs with my friends. Like, I'm actually trying to build a brand, build a lifestyle, and build something I can give to my son.
Well, and that's the fucking crazy part. Like, in 2020, with most of us, like, at one point this year, fucking stuck at home, just fucking stuck at home. Everyone takes the fucking arts for granted. But if it wasn't for fucking people like you who pursued the fucking arts, what the fuck would you be doing sitting at home?
Right.
Fucking, the arts are fucking important. The fact that we've defunded them in schools is fucking bullshit.
God. Preach.
Like, yeah, not everyone is going to be successful in the arts. Not everyone is going to fucking make it. But people are. Like, and it's a fucking important. It's what keeps society fucking afloat. Like, we need entertainment. We need distractions. It's fucking important.
Yeah, I mean, I think the word that always comes to mind when this conversation comes up is expression. You know what I mean? Like, proper expression is the answer to a lot of problems. Violence, rape, a lot of things like that. A lot of the things that I feel like come from people having an inability to properly connect with other people. Art is the answer. Appreciation for people's experiences through an expression, an artistic expression, is the answer to a lot of that shit, in my opinion. And I think that art is medicine in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? It's a way to balm the soul through pain. It's a way to encourage others through good times. And it's a way to just express the unity of struggle. You know what I mean? Like, the reason why trap, drug dealing, gun toting music is so prevalent is because it gives people this feeling of, like, life feels like the Wild Wild West anyway. Life feels like a constant struggle where everyone's trying to bring you down and you're a one-man show trying to shoot your way out. That's how life feels. So if you can create a musical component that people can have as their soundtrack to that feeling, everyone's going to connect to that, whether it's their boss, road rage, people in their life that are causing them drama, baby mama drama, whatever it is that is making them feel like Clint Eastwood in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. There's that musical component that's like, yeah, I'm out here doing what I got to do for me because life is hard and I don't have what some other people have, so I'm taking. And that is a way that everyone can kind of just like take a breath and be like, all right, it feels okay to not have the ideal life. Or it feels okay to be struggling today or to be having a rough time. I think all of that shit is healthy. Same way I think that to a certain extent, violent video games are healthy. I think, you know, that's just as healthy as taking Taekwondo, you know, some kind of release where you're able to take physical energy and mental energy and put it out there in a way that doesn't actually harm anyone. That's positive to me.
I agree. We need releases and we need escapism. Like, life sucks sometimes. 2020 has been a rough year for fun. Like, rich, poor, it doesn't, unless you're Jeff Bezos, 2020 has sucked. Like, that dude's
2020 is like one of the best years of my life. And I do know I'm in the super minority with that, but it's been an incredibly good year for me because
that's an outlook thing. That is completely an outlook thing.
Yeah, but there was also a lot of pressure off of me because the rest of the world wasn't doing shit. So I was like, okay, for the first time in my life, I can do a little bit less, plan a little bit more, think a little bit harder. Like, it allowed me to get into a headspace of reconstruction and of looking at the whole thing outside the box. And not to mention that this is going to sound crazy, but most of your podcast is a sex-related podcast anyway. The fact that I couldn't be going out and doing whatever the fuck and trying to talk to women all the fucking time kept me focused. You know what I mean? I wasn't able to just go out and meet a new girl. Like, nah, that wasn't an option. I'm in here thinking about my future. I'm spending time with my family, my son, that would have happened anyway. That has nothing to do with the girl thing. But I'm just saying, like, the way that my time was spent in 2020 was incredibly rewarding. And I feel super blessed that I had a different experience than most people did this year.
No, and I totally get that. And, like, I appreciate the fuck out of that. But that's all a mindset thing. That is 100%, like, having the right mindset about this year. Like, good on you for that.
Well, that's all life, baby. Life is a mindset thing.
100%. Hell, Thanksgiving was, at time of recording, was yesterday. Like, it's like, if you think about it, you're like, oh, what am I thankful for? Like, oh, I have food on my table. I got fucking a roof over my head. Like, it's all perspective. And you got it right. 2020 is a great year if you have the right perspective about it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that everyone had the shared experience. I personally, God forbid, knock on wood, all that superstitious shit, I haven't lost anyone super close to me to COVID-19. I haven't contracted any illnesses. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's things that other people experienced this year that I have not experienced. So I'm not out here just saying, like, hey, you got to have a positive outlook, and you could be like, nah. I'm saying I was blessed to have a year of rebirth, a year of growth, and a year of, like, kind of putting myself in a different mind state and focusing on me, my son, and my team, and getting my money right. And I looked at this year as a blessing for sure. And I do, my heart does go out to the people that, had it way worse than me this year. Cause I know a lot of people had a really fucking rough time.
Yeah. And we're not even out of the fucking woods yet. And
in 2021, let's go.
Woo! I have to be better about my fucking perspective. Cause like you, I've gotten into new enterprises. It's been a roller coaster for me. On like one hand, I don't have, like, some of my side hustles have dried up, where I don't have that distraction to take me away from being creative.
Sure.
Like, where I've had to fucking, like, double down on doing creative shit. And, like, I need to think about that more as, like, oh, hey, this is a positive, motherfucker. You are stuck in your apartment with nothing but you, your thoughts, and fucking the ability to record them and make creative shit from it.
And a lot of whiskey.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I've never had whiskey in my life.
Right. So speaking of craziness and 2020, how wild is it that are we getting an AVN this year? We're not getting an AVN.
We're getting a virtual AVN 2021.
Yeah, so there's no expo.
No expo.
This is gonna mark the first year I haven't gone to the expo in, like, a lot of years.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I missed the last two, but that was the first time in 10 years I hadn't gone.
So we always see a big spike in our clothing every time I go to the AVN. There's always a big spike in sales because we'll give the submit and the dominant shirts out to all the porn stars, and some of them will post it and their followings will hit it up. And I always have this nice little February, March, April spike in sales. And I'm like, oh man, how am I going to virtually connect with the porn stars this year? This is going to be weird.
It's a weird year for it, especially because, like, I don't know how they're going to do, like, they're doing a virtual award show. I mean, I think they're technically doing a virtual expo, but I don't know how it's going to work. It ain't going to be the same.
Like, yeah, what? Oh, is it on OnlyFans or something?
AVN stars, of course. AVN's
yeah.
But it ain't going to be the same.
Our boy Johnny is nominated.
Yep.
Love that. I'm trying to think. I think we have some other friends that are nominated. I know Kira Cole's nominated. Shout her out.
Yep,
She's awesome.
Bunch of people, like, that we've known for years fucking nominated. It's nice to see them fucking nominated. It's a bummer to not be able to go in Vegas and be like, oh shit, like, getting weird, getting circle bar fucking shit at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
I kind of miss it.
Yeah.
I kind of miss it. I mean, I haven't gone in the last
I'm not gonna lie. Last year was pretty great. The year before was mediocre, but last year was a lot of fun. I had a good time last year.
See, I haven't gone.
All I know is if we go in 2022, we should go together. We should tear shit up. We got to make up for this year.
Hell yeah. No, 2022, if we're back to a real convention, I'm going to go. Like 19 and 20, I didn't go because like it was one of those things. Since I'm living in LA now, it just wasn't financially like a good business decision for me. Like the content I get at AVN is all real short format shit. Like the last podcast we did from AVN was 2018, and like I had like 20 different performers on, but for like 10, 15 minutes a pop.
Right.
And like this show is not a fucking like get in, ask you a fucking couple questions, get out type deal. Like
sure, no, it's more of like a camaraderie. Let's get a little saucy together and talk some real shit.
Right, exactly. And I don't feel that ever shine through with the AVN content. Like when I was living in Vegas, when I was on the road all the time, like yeah, it made sense to go back to AVN to get content. But since I live in LA and like most everyone's here, right. I can have real shows with people instead of being like, hey, here's some bullshit questions. Like, and I'm not knocking the content I did at AVN, but it's not the same.
Sure, yeah. For me, it's always just like making that initial connection and then building a relationship off of it. Like I can think of, like I mentioned, Kiara Cole, Nikki Huntsman, Sabina Rouge, even Kimmy. There's just a lot of people that I met at AVN and just handed them a shirt and was like, hey, I make dope shirts. I make cool music. I respect what you're doing. You're awesome. Take this. And develop some form of like rapport and relationship with these people to the point where we can like text each other and goof off and fuck around. And that's what I like about AVN is just like, if you are coming there, no disrespect to anybody, but if you are coming there for a reason other than to just like take a pic and simp with somebody, it's easy to develop like a rapport with people. And I like that, you know, it's got a very Comic-Con type feel to it where you could just like walk up and see Brent Spiner from Star Trek The Next Generation and be like, hey man, like I got this thing. And you talk to him and then you exchange emails. And then next thing you know, like he's wishing you a happy birthday. You know, it's kind of like that. And that's what I fuck with about AVN.
So much. Some of my best friends, like, were interactions I had at Circle Bar. Like, the shit on the show floor, like, people are too busy. Like, they ain't got time to, like, actually connect. But the Circle Bar, fucking after parties, AVN is a magical place for that shit.
So,
magical.
Funny story, I've never been to an AVN after party. I've gone like six years. I'm not talking about like an official
after party. Fuck the official after parties. I'm talking about like.
Oh, well, I've partied with like Johnny.
Yeah, like I'm talking about like the sweet parties and shit that happens in fucking rooms and shit like that. Like, I'm not talking about like fuck the official after. I mean, no AVN. I'm sorry. Don't fuck the official after parties. Don't fuck the official after parties. But yeah. No. What goes down when you meet people, when you got friends, and like you end up in some suite, and like the shit that's not open to the public is what I'm talking about. Though, tell me to shut the fuck up if I'm not allowed to talk about this. But weren't you banned for half a second from AVN or got kicked out?
I was. I was banned. No, you don't have to shut the fuck up. I specifically. Let me think about how to word this. Okay, so
how was I banned?
So no. I know exactly what happened. I'm just thinking about what companies would be mad if I used their name because I'm going to tell the story like the truth. So the first time I came to AVN, I came with HailMaryJane.com. That was the company that brought me. I was the musical director for HailMaryJane.com. I was going with them to events like South by Southwest and YouTube tapings and all different types of shit as their musical director. They were like a cannabis culture blog that was trying to sell themselves to a bigger company. So the first time I came to AVN, we came under that premise. So we were giving away edibles and rolling papers, and we were giving away medicated tinctures and vapes and all different types of stuff because a lot of companies that had teamed up with us had been like, hey, you're going to AVN, take this stuff, give them to people. So that was a great in the beginning because everyone there was like, oh, you've got, this medicated lemonade from DNG Lemonades for me? This is delicious. And then they were sauced as fuck, totally zooted, hit me up the next day like, that lemonade you gave me was so lit. Do you have any more? And I'd be like, nah, it's all gone. But, developing relationships.
Right.
So one huge porn star Asian, beautiful, somewhat older porn star, I'm not going to say her name, had requested that I bring back the prodankazine medicated syrup that I had given her the year before when I came to AVN the next year. So I did that. I hit up prodankazine. I hit my boy up. I don't think they're a company anymore. If they are, they're not doing things like they were, that's for sure. But I hit them up at the time and I was like, hey, I need a couple prodankazines for this lady, this lovely lady. So I get them, bring them up. There's actually footage of me handing it to her and of the security guard turning and looking over at us and then like getting into his radio. So apparently because these bottles looked like lean, like codeine syrup, he got all up in arms about it. And they took me down to the basement of the Hard Rock and they like put me on camera and they read me this paragraph explaining that I was banned. And I was like, hey, listen, you guys are getting legal weed like within the next like 2 months at the time. Like Vegas was just going legal. I was like, I'm not really sure. As you were fucking walking me down to the basement, I saw a dude rip a line of coke off a poker table. Like, you're banning me for weed? And you're about to go legal with weed and you're letting high rollers blow coke off the table? Like, this shit's crazy. But it was what it was. They took this video of me, escorted me out, told me I couldn't come back in, blah, blah, blah. And I'm probably still banned, but I just came back the next year and no one bothered me. I came back the next year, no one bothered me. I came back the next year. And since I don't go there under the premise of working with a weed company anymore, now I show up under the premise of Trader Threads, which is my kind of anti-designer fashion clothing company. And we have 2 shirts that do really, really well at the AVNs and hopefully something new by 2022 when we're able to actually go back in person.
Dude, that'd be amazing if like you were able to get a copy of that footage of like them giving you the riot act, like in the basement, like, that's right, banned from the AVNs. Boom. Just like you, like, that'd be amazing if you get that footage.
I wonder who we'd have to talk to. I'm sure I could figure something out.
I mean, the Hard Rock doesn't exist anymore because like they get sold to Virgin.
Yeah.
So
damn, and we're not even gonna get to see the first Virgin AVN. Virgin AVN.
I know. 2022. Hopefully we'll be back on. We'll be back to like, no masks and raw dogging people.
Hell yeah. It's been a while.
So how's fatherhood treating you, by the way? You talked about your son a bunch, but...
Oh, dude. So my son is like the coolest. I never wanted to have kids, man, like at all. I had no desire. People don't believe this story, but it's the absolute truth. On my way home in April of, I guess it was 2017, I was in an Uber talking to my female Uber driver about relationships and all types of shit heading to LAX. And she was asking me if I would ever have kids. And I was like, no, I'm never going to have kids. And she's like, what if you're, with a partner who you're madly in love with and they really want kids? And I was like, miss, I really don't think that I'm the right partner for them if they really, really want kids. Like, I see the world just getting shittier and shittier every year in so many ways. The economy, in the fluctuation of the dollar, in the way that people treat each other. Right. There's just so much bullshit going on. I would hate to be responsible for the happiness of another human being when 80% of the human beings I know aren't happy. It's a bad time to be responsible for the happiness of another person. And I'm having this whole conversation with her, and I go home and I fly home, and like 2 days later, I find out that I am having a kid. It was epic and it was scary, but there was like, at that point, there was no point where I was like, hey, we should get this taken care of. I kind of just like felt like, all right, well, I'm at this age in my life. Let's ride this out and see what happens. And man, my son is the dopest. He's so cool.
Hell yeah. There was no point where she was like, let's take care of this either, right?
Nope. I think that she was really scared and real freaked out. And the way I approached it to her, I mean, I wanted to kind of see it through. Mainly, I hadn't gotten anyone. Damn, we're going deep. I hadn't gotten anyone pregnant since I was like 18. And the girl that I had gotten pregnant when I was 18 was the girl that I lost my virginity to. And she went through like a crazy, like body dysmorphia and a bunch of other stuff. She was a model and ended up kind of inducing a miscarriage through her own actions.
Holy shit.
Close to the end of our relationship. So I hadn't had any run in with that kind of situation since I was 18, and years later, I just kind of was like, all right, well, if this is the plan that the universe has coming my way, I'm about to see what's up with this. I'm also an only child. My parents don't have any other kids. So it kind of, I don't know. I was just like, it was a big wake up call. And I was like, fuck it. I'm going to ride this out. And she wanted to ride it out too. And even though we didn't work out as a couple, I don't think either of us, sometimes I get that feeling like, I wish I didn't have a kid with you, but then I wouldn't have the same kid. So I got to check myself when I start feeling that way.
I mean, that's just, that's natural shit. I mean, it's crazy. Like the amount of people like that I've had unprotected sex with who are like, holy fuck, to be stuck with you for life. Like, even if the kid ended up awesome, to be stuck with you for life might be a problem.
And, obviously we're not stuck together because I actually broke up with her right after AVNs this year. But, yeah, I took her to AVNs and the Grammys back to back as my guest. And we got home and I was just like, I can't really fuck with the way that you act when I'm like taking you to do the dopest shit. And you don't even realize that, like, I'm out here for my business. Like, we're not out here to party. I mean, we can party too.
Right. That's
but we
part
can't
of the
put
job,
that ahead. Yeah, we can't put that ahead of, like, the goals. We're not here for you the same way we're not here for me. We're here for, like, what I'm building.
Right.
And that was, like, the final straw in the relationship because we had been falling apart for a while. And I was honestly just trying to stay together because my parents are still together now. All I know is good old wholesome mom and dad loving. Like, I don't know about that broken home life. So I was really trying to stay together for the kid. And I'm glad that I got pushed over the edge because life I think for both of us, I mean, she's got a cool new boyfriend now that she's really into. And I'm single as fuck, which I'm really into. And I think everything is just better this way. I'm glad it worked out this way.
No, I agree with you. Like, as someone who comes from a broken home, I know my mother was much happier in her relationship after my father than she ever was with my father.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we were dumb happy until she got pregnant for real, which is crazy because it's like coincidental, maybe. I don't know. But we were really cool as like friends with benefits, open relationship type thing. As soon as she got pregnant and she wanted me to start treating what we had going on in a whole different way, I was like, yo, we're going to be best friends that co-parent and live together and have this kid. And we're still going to be ourselves and do whatever the fuck we want whenever. And she was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. And then at 3 months pregnant, she was like, maybe that's not as awesome as I thought. And at 6 months pregnant, she was like, yeah, I think like I need to be your woman. And at like 9 months pregnant, she was like, yeah, this needs to be like a normal relationship. You can't be like sleeping with another girl for multiple months at a time anymore. Like this shit's not okay anymore. And I'm like, so, we tried it all different types of ways over the next couple years. And nothing was making either of us happy the way it was before. And finally, I was like, look, I'm going to keep doing all this crazy dope shit. I don't feel like you're appreciative when I take you with me. I feel like you take the perks of being my lady for granted. And I know that the girls in my DMs over here would, if they were doing the things that you're doing, would be like to the moon. So like, I'm not really feeling like this is right for me anymore. I'm finally starting to feel like this is holding me back. And like I said, man, I think she's happier. I'm definitely happier. I think our son is going to be okay regardless. We're definitely both going to do the best we can for him. So it is what it is.
Like, when your son gets older, how are you going to explain, like, the situation to him?
So deep inside, I feel like she's going to explain it to him. I feel like she's going to have way more, I don't want to say negative, but like way more tongue-in-cheek shit to say about me than I'm going to have to say about her, just because of our personalities. I'm not really the type to be like that. So I probably won't say much. I'll probably let him get older and figure that shit out for himself.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm all for, like, not talking shit about, you know, the kid's mother, but, you know, I feel like, believe me, I don't want to breed. I don't want to ever have this conversation with anybody. But, like, to be like, yo, sometimes shit doesn't work out. Like, sometimes shit doesn't work out.
That conversation.
Yeah, like, just the
I would
like
just
the
tell
realistic
him that
situation of, like, because I know, like, as a kid coming from divorce, like, at 6 years old when my parents got divorced, it was definitely like, I internalized that it was my fault, even though it had nothing to fucking do with me. So, like, I feel like it's important if you're, like, separated parents to be like, yo, this is how things went down. Like, this has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to look him in the eye and be like, hey, your mother and I literally never had a single fight until she was pregnant with you. Ew. And then once she got pregnant with you, everything just started to fall apart between us. And the best thing about that is that we both have you, and neither of us give a fuck about each other anymore, but we both love you. So, like, it really doesn't matter because you won. We both, like, thought we lost for a minute, but really we both won. Everybody's a winner here. So it doesn't matter. I'm joking. I probably would never say anything like that. But
I mean, you just said it on the internet recorded.
Oh yeah. I mean, you'll probably show it to him. I don't know, man. It depends.
No,
it depends.
I'm gonna roll up to his 10th birthday and be like, "Hey, I got a present for you. Your dad's on the internet here."
Bro, you're like 39. You'll be senile by his 10th birthday. What? You might do that shit. You might show up like, "Hey, check this tape out. It's a VHS."
Shit, beta. It'll be a Betamax. Like, I don't know how I'll get it on beta, but I'll do that shit.
I don't really think that it's going to be in that frame. I think he was 2 when we split up in February. He'll be 3 in December. You know, he was 2. By the time that he's talking in full sentences, he's familiar with his mom's new boyfriend. He's familiar with, I mean, I don't physically show affection to women in front of him. You know what I mean? I'm not like making out with girls in front of him or like sleeping.
Grabbing a handful and shit.
Yeah. But he's familiar with the girls that I have over on a regular basis. And, you know, one of them paints pictures with them. She's an artist. Another one, you know, goes on walks with them and stuff like that. So I think him growing up at such an early age, there's not going to be this like traumatic divorce moment. It's just like, hey, mom's got her situation. Dad's over here. Dad's got his situation, surrounded by love. Everyone is, you know, doing their best to make sure that things are cool. I hope that we don't have any kind of situation where I have to explain to him that anything between me and his mother is not his fault, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, believe me, I don't know the psychology of it. I don't know, like, what to do at that age. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. This is part of the reason I don't want to fucking breed. Like, I don't want to have to answer these fucking questions. Because, like, oh, shit. So, yeah, I raw dogged your mom once in a bathroom. We didn't even really know each other's names. That's life, kid. Like, I don't want to have that conversation with someone because that's the only way I'm getting someone pregnant, really. Like, it's going to be that kind of accident.
All right. Well, we're learning a lot about Matt Slayer today, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, they know. I mean, there's 200 plus episodes of this shit. They know. They know what kind of ignorant shit I get into.
All right. So real quick, when was the last time that you raw dogged somebody in a public bathroom?
Oh, it's been a hot minute. Like,
you were saying it like it was like 4 days ago, bro.
Dude, I live in LA. There's no public bathroom to raw dog someone in 4 days ago.
I don't know. In LA, you might find those like gender neutral bathrooms. You can raw dog whoever you want.
Yeah, but there's no businesses open. No, it's been a hot minute since I've raw dogged someone in a public bathroom. It's been a hot minute. Like,
I think Chipotle was the last bathroom I had unprotected sex in.
I mean, that's a rough bathroom to have. Like, dude, the smells.
I live in a nice area, man. It's Hunt Valley. It's well taken care of.
Oh, okay. I'm just thinking of I'm thinking like a Hollywood Chipotle, like someone homeless was just in there, fucking sleeping in there right before you try to bang someone. No, don't want to do it.
Nope. I mean, not that I wouldn't. You know what I mean? If it's the right person.
I don't want to, but I would.
I mean, I can think of some people right now that I would bang in any bathroom that they asked me to. Let's make it happen.
Anyone that the audience might know?
Yeah, but I can't say that.
Well, you definitely can.
No, they're in my inbox.
Maybe it'll happen for you.
Oh, I do that every night before bed. I just sit there like,
well, yeah, but let's put it out on the internet, on the show, and maybe that'll happen for you. I want to hear this shit.
Oh man, well, fuck. If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna shoot big. Let's see.
Yeah, fucking shoot big.
Like celebrity crush. All right, you tell me who is your first of all, your non-porn star celebrity crush,
Scarlett
and then
Johansson.
Your porn star. Okay, all right. Damn. Even with the little cross-eyed thing she's got going on.
Oh, dude, I would bust ropes. Like. Like, you could climb gym class type ropes, the amount of ropes I would blow.
Yeah, that's what she would do, too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of, like, what level Ryan Reynolds is on where he divorced her. Like...
I think he just masturbates to a mirror.
I mean, if I was that pretty, I might, too.
I meant ego, but yeah. All right, so non-porn star celebrity crush for me... might be Kat.
Von
Two
D?
Broke Girls.
Oh,
no.
Kat Jennings.
Yeah, she's up there for me. I got a big extra medium hard on for her.
You know, you're technically 3 degrees separated from her.
Oh yeah.
So like
It's Dennings, by the way.
Dennings, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, things off. Alcohol, whatever. I'll just Kat Jennings, yeah.
We'll just have a bloop in post.
No, I'll just leave my fuck ups like usual in there. I feel douchey about. I am acquaintances with another cast member of Two Broke Girls, so we'll just leave it at that.
Oh, all right. Well, hey, this is why we speak these things into existence on the internet.
Next time I see that cast member of Two Broke Girls, I'll be like, "Yo, my guy."
My guy. Oh, so we know it's a guy.
No. I'm saying you as yo, my guy.
I thought I was doing detective work over here.
No.
All right, and then I know you run a porn podcast, but who's
this
your ultimate
This is not a fucking porn podcast, you goddamn musician.
It's a porn podcast. And now we drink and talk to porn stars. That's what this is called.
Hey, there have been plenty of musicians and comedians who have done this show over the years.
All right, that's fair. That is very true. So who's your ultimate porn wish list? If Santa was bringing you any of all time, and you could even be like, "Hey, I want Jenna Hayes from like 15 years ago." You could say whatever.
That is actually harder for me to answer because there's like some performers that like I'm super attracted to and like I know them in real life. Now it's like I'm not super down with you, and then there's other performers who are like I don't want to just put like I legitimately might want to holler at them, and I don't just want to put that out.
Could add to it. Like I have met Janice Griffith a bunch of times, right?
Right.
And she has always flip-flopped between being really nice to me and really cunty towards me. and when I first met her, I wasn't that attracted to her, but the more cunty she was, I was like, yo, I would do damage to your body. Just for revenge of all the times that you've kind of made me uncomfortable in my own skin. Like I would hurt you. Yeah. I don't know. That could sometimes work to the benefit. Somebody makes me uncomfortable, I'll fuck the shit out of them. Like I've got something to prove now.
I gotta think about that. Like on the porn front, I gotta think about that because it's one of those things where like, on a like sexual attraction front, like there are some of these European performers that like, I don't know you're aware, but like my rule on the masturbation front is like I'm only jerking off to people I don't know in real life.
Damn, that's crazy.
Unless I've been inside them. Then the 6
man, I don't have any rules about jacking off. None.
So like, yeah, there's definitely some European performers who are just like, oh my God, you fucking turn me the fuck on. But I don't know who they're like in real life. And then there's some performers who are like, I'm definitely attracted to, like, I'm definitely like into as a person, but I'm not like sure I wanted to be like, well, that's never really worked out. Do I really want to just put it on blast on the internet? Like, oh yeah, that's where I want to be.
So you're saying that you know what it is, you just don't want to say it out loud.
There's a couple.
But all right.
Let me take another drink before I make poor decisions.
I feel like ultimate, like of all time, any time frame, you could definitely there's someone in your mind that's just there for you, bro. And if there's not, then we're just hella different people. Because
I mean, there's definitely someone that like. There's definitely one performer, like she's retired. She's way retired at this point, and like, you know, I guess we're friends. So it's just like, I'm not trying to blow that up on the internet.
All right, well, I'm not gonna squeeze it out of you, man. Yeah, but when I see you in person, after this show is over,
stop. I'll admit it, dude. It's just one of those things where like AVN, like 2013. I feel like I zigged where I should have zagged.
Okay, all right.
Like we spent her and I. If she remembers this, she should text me. But we spent like the whole fucking night, like at AVN, drinking and hanging out. It was an amazing fucking time. It was fucking hilarious. Her ex-boyfriend, actually, part of the reason I don't want to bring this up is because like her ex-boyfriend doesn't remember how he actually met me. Her ex-boyfriend's a comedian. And he met me that night through another performer. And then I'm hanging out with his ex at Mr. Lucky's getting breakfast, and he is flipping her off from outside Mr. Lucky's. You've been to Mr. Lucky's. So for the audience who doesn't know, Mr. Lucky's is the diner in the Hard Rock. And it doesn't actually have walls. Like, it just looks out to the casino floor. So me and her are at dinner, breakfast type deal, and he is flipping her off as she is out to breakfast with me.
And just doesn't remember that it was you that she was with.
And I'm thanking for it because he let me pull a complete pimp move during the fucking dinner. Like, I just took her phone out of her hand, put it face down on the table, put my phone face down on top of hers. I'm like, no, you and I are just here together. Forget that bullshit.
There you go. Yeah, facts.
And then
you got to do that though, man. Like
you do.
We have very limited opportunities, especially with people of the opposite sex. Like, I feel like as men, the window for catching a female's interest is much smaller than the window for catching a man's interest. Because with a man, it's like, if I'm attracted to you the first time I see you, until I fuck you, I remember you as like, oh, that's that girl I'm gonna fuck one day. But with women,
so I'll put a caveat on that. Unless they do something horribly fucking repugnant, and I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Like, because occasionally you're like,
yeah, but if you're drunk enough, you'll still do it. But with women,
facts on that.
But
facts.
With women, it's all contingent on where they are mentally, where you are, the environment. We have a tiny ass little window. If you're face to face with a girl that you want to sleep with, you take your phone and you put that shit face down on top of her phone and you go, hey, this is our time. Look at me. I'm the vibrator with like the little bunny ears and the face right now. Like, let's go. Like, this is my time. You have to. And I, you know, I'm not trying to say be pushy, or I'm not trying to say, you know, if someone's telling you no, obviously that's a different story. But until you hear that shit, it's your time to fucking go. Balls to the wall.
Her and I drank till like fucking 5 o'clock in the morning that night. Like, it was a good fucking night. Like, I did try to go in for the kiss at one point. Like, I felt her kind of tense up in my arms, and I put the brakes on. Like, as you do. If you're a fucking reasonable human being, and like, you know, you read the room like, oh, nope. So, you know, but her and I talked for a hot minute. I mean, her and I still talk, but not on that level. Like,
well, hey, man, I'm here to tell you today, It's time to get it back on that level. You got some manifesting to do. You got to get out your dreams.
Yeah,
Let's
nothing
go.
like 6 years later and like she was
Facts. Better than 10 years later. Let's go. I'll take a shot right now. We're going.
So I'm not going to call that out, but there are definitely a couple other performers who I'm just like, you intrigue me. Like, I'm sexually attracted to you and you intrigue me. But like, I'm not going to put that out into the world and like, till I feel it out a little more. It's just one of those things like, I could say I want to fuck Scarlett Johansson all day long. And like, the likelihood of Scarlett Johansson seeing this interview and being like, oh shit, Matt Slayer wants to fuck me, pretty low. Me calling out someone else who like works in the industry being like, Matt Slayer wants to fuck me. Fairly decent likelihood of them seeing this shit. And I would rather just have
the difference is that like someone working in the adult industry, it's a given that like most people they interact with want to sleep with them.
Right. But I don't want to be most people they interact with.
Oh, you're not.
Oh, I know I'm not. But I don't want to get relegated to that bullshit. I don't want to get relegated to that shit. Like, the minute they think that, like, my penis is what's in play, they may relegate me to that bullshit for whatever their bullshit. No. Like, the people I, like, am actually interested in, like, spending time within this industry is because they, like, intrigue me on this level. Like, I interact with a lot of fucking hot people. There's a lot of people I would enjoy having an orgasm with, and it would really enjoy making them have an intense orgasm. But it doesn't, like, that's not who I'm really interested in.
Yeah. I can relate to that because with the clothing, with Trader Threads,
I love how you bring it around. I love how you bring it around.
I've met more models in the last 2 years, and I've kind of come to the realization that, like, there's a lot of really, really hot women that, like, when I see their picture, I'm like, ooh. And then when I hang out with them for a little while, I'm like, eh.
Well,
it is what it is.
I posted this on either Twitter or Instagram like a couple of years ago and caught some shit for it. Beauty is like fucking diamonds. The only reason where you think it's rare is because of fucking marketing. Beauty is fucking common.
Not in Maryland, baby. You should come out here where no one's pretty.
Dude, I've been to Baltimore. I've had sex in your state.
No one. Well, I don't know what our standards where they rank up, but I have a really hard time finding people I'm attracted to in this area. Sorry, I still love Baltimore. I'm still 410 all day, baby. But I don't really like dating here. In fact, in 2020, a lot of my friends, when I broke up with my baby mama, or when we broke up, I don't want to say that because now people are gonna, when we decided to split, when we decided to part ways, completely mutually, not with any of us. I didn't break up with her. A lot of my friends were like, "Is there anyone you would make your girlfriend?" And at first it was like, no, and then it was like, all right, there's like one person on the planet that I know right now that I would consider dating. And crazy as shit, last time I saw her, she just like randomly, the first time we were alone for like 30 seconds, someone walked in the bathroom, she just walked up and kissed me. I haven't seen her since. And I didn't press it, you know what I mean? But it's just like, things like that, I don't know, things like that make it all cool. Because it's like, I'm not pressed on it. I'm not trying to make anyone my girlfriend. I'm not trying to do all that. But the fact that there might be a little mutual attraction there, you know what I mean? Something might happen in the future. That's cool.
Yeah. And believe me, you and I both know women smell thirst. Like the minute, like, oh my God, I they're like, don't want none of that shit.
Yeah. Which is crazy because women are so much, well, I'm not going to go there. Women are just very obvious when they're thirsty is the polite way to say what I was going to say.
Like, it honestly boggles my mind that, like, anyone stays together. Because in my, like, I don't know if, like, it's just romanticized back in the day, but, like, there is so much bullshit in games that goes into modern dating. Like, I gotta show you that I'm interested in you, but I can't be too interested. I gotta, like, you gotta do that fucking bullshit dance. Like, I can't.
Yeah, I don't really do that, though. Maybe that's why I don't have girlfriends very often.
Hey, I'm right there.
I don't know. I just feel like I think that that's a perception. And although, you can't act too interested in anyone, it's more so you just can't get out of your own pocket, man. Like, the same way that if you and I found the dopest metal band and I had a repertoire with a metal label, we wouldn't be able to hit the label up and all guns blazing be like, you guys gotta sign these guys, you gotta like we would be like, yo, we need some tact, we need some presence, we need to have like a concise statement, we need to pique their interest and show them, establish what the value is. I think it's the same way, but I don't think that the games thing has to happen. Like, you know, there's these books on dating where they're like, you got to text a girl and then you got to like ignore her for 5 days. And then you got to like, no, yeah, fuck all that. Like, I don't think that you have to compromise who you are as a person and play like this established game. Well, I think it's just at the point where it's like, yo, don't be dumb. Don't come off as like, yo, you're the light of my life. It was so nice to meet you tonight. Like, don't fucking be stupid. Just be like, hey, I'm dope. You're dope. I feel like we could be doing dope stuff together if we're both available. Let's go.
I also think there's no hard and fast rules because there are some people that like you interact with, like you just fall in and like, you're dope, we're dope, let's do this. And there's some people you got to be like, I got to keep you at arm's length for a minute to feel out what's going on. There's no hard and fast rules because each person you're involved with is an individual. It's not like
to mention that like everyone cheats now, so you got to be really careful because it's like 80% of the people that you're hooking up with are cheating on their man. So it's like, is this even going anywhere anyway? Because you're a cheater.
See, that's what I love about LA. It's like LA monogamous. Like, oh, me and you, raw dog. We use condoms with everyone else. That's the established rule. That's LA monogamous, baby.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh man.
Well, and that's the thing, like I've never cheated. Like I don't get the cheating mentality. Like I've almost cheated. Oof, I've definitely almost cheated, but I've never actually cheated.
I cheated back once, but I've never initiated cheating. And it wasn't sex. I had a girl that I was with make out with somebody else when she was drunk, so I went out and got drunk and I made out with somebody else, but I've never but I also have been in like 5 monogamous relationships. I have not been in a monogamous relationship in almost 10 years. Every relationship I've been in, there's been an establishment of like, hey, I care about you enough that like I want to come home to you every night. I'm down with you having a key to my house. I'm not hiding shit from you. You're welcome to be here. But if I want to fuck somebody enough that like I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to regret this if I don't do this. I'm going to fuck that person, period. And if you can't get down with that, then I'm not the right guy for you. And I'm totally cool with that. Like, there's no person on this fucking planet, not Kat Dennings, not my porn star lady, not nobody that is worth my freedom. There's not a single person, period.
Well, and if you're with the right person, you shouldn't feel trapped anyway. So,
right.
No, I totally get that. I totally get that shit. It's all time, place. Like, there's so many fucking variables that go into it. It's not just like hard, fast rules. Like,
but it is with most people. You gotta get that part out there. Like, it is. Like, most people are out here just like, you're mine and I'm yours, and I've got the passcode to your phone, and we've got a joint Facebook the first time you cheat on me. Like, that's
the thing. But that's the thing. Yes and no, because like, I'm sure it's happened in your life. Like, you know, you've hollered at some girl who's just like, oh my God, I'm not ready for a relationship. And then like when she met the right dude, she was. Like, there's no hard and fast rules.
That's never happened to me.
Oh my God, you're so blessed. You're so fucking blessed. It's definitely happened to almost.
I've never asked a girl to be in a relationship, bro. I don't care. I don't want to be in a relationship with her. I'm just trying to fuck.
But that has definitely happened to the majority of America.
I'm just fucking with you, bro.
I know you are.
Yeah, I understand that part, but like, man, I feel like, not even to sound douchey, but I feel like I'm the one on the giving end of that part where I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to be in a relationship. I'm not trying to be in a relationship. I'm not trying to be in a relationship. Then I pop up with a kid with some bitch and all these girls are like, hey, yo, I thought you weren't trying to be in a relationship. I'm like, hey, that was an accident. My bad.
Well, it's like the old saying is like, a wedding ring is the ultimate aphrodisiac.
Ugh.
Well, no, it's like, yo, a couple of my guys who got married in their 20s, like, they'd go out to the bar with me and like wedding ring on, and like women would just throw themselves at him because they're just like, oh my God, he's got married. Like, he's a good dude. Like,
yeah, but I think it's also the challenge, man. Like, I mean, first of all, if you see a girl at the bar that's a 6 and she looks like she's been crying, and you see a girl at the bar that's like a 9 and she looks like every time she steps out of the house, she's ready for a photo shoot, one of them's a challenge and one of them looks like an easy target. I don't know about you, but me personally, I'm way more interested in seeing what it takes to crack that challenge. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, all right, you obviously are feeling yourself. There's a lot of self-respect going on over here. What does it take for a dude to get your number, to get you to hang out this weekend, to get you to, like, maybe leave your car here and I can call you an Uber in the morning? Whereas the girl that looks like she's been crying all night, I'm like, yeah, my friend over there that's not that confident, I'm going to get him to go talk to her, and then we can all leave together. I'm not really interested in something that seems easy, ever, even if they're hot. When I was younger, like post-high school, like right out of high school, there were a lot of girls in my area in Baltimore County, Maryland, that were extremely sexy, but that had the reputation of being like easy as fuck. I was never interested in any of them because I was like, yo, like, whether it's something in my reptile brain that makes me want to compete, I desire that challenge. And I think that when it comes to that wedding ring thing, I think part of it is just that the girl's like, hey, one, I can safely flirt with this dude all night knowing that he has a woman. And at the end of the night, if I need to, I have an out being like, oh, no, you're married. Never mind. My Uber's here. Bye. And number two, if you're the other type of girl that's like, you know, out there for the hunt, then you're like, yo, what's it take to get this fucking married man to like step outside the box and do something freaky?
you're like, it boosts their ego. Like, yeah, that's right. I got a married dude tonight.
Right. Yeah, I got somebody that I wasn't supposed to have. I mean, that's always been more fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the girls that fuck black guys in the beginning are the girls who have racist parents. Because they're like, hey, this is something I'm not supposed to do. I'm not saying that that's not a reflection of my views on interracial dating. I think anyone should love whoever they want. But I'm saying that by being a racist parent, you're encouraging your kid to have sex with people of different races because you're making it this thing. You're making it a fucking thing. Right. And I think, you know, stepping into the bar by yourself with your wedding ring on, you're establishing, hey, this is the taboo. You want this? You can't have it unless you really, really work for it.
See, I'm not about that much effort. I take that 6 home. I take that 6 home. I mean, now she's crying. I'm not about that. But.
Well, hey, the facts is that you could be a great wingman for me because if you take that 6 home, I'm going to try to crack that 9.
Yeah, that just seems like too much fucking effort. Like, I'd rather just have another drink and like, just, you know, as James Caan on The Simpsons once said, some men like a challenge. I don't.
Fair enough.
I ain't got enough time in a day to like play bullshit games. Like, you down? I'm down. Cool. Not to say I don't like finer things in life, but I'm just like, you know, it's a major turnoff for me if a woman has like low self-esteem. Like, I was definitely like, you know, hooking up with a girl at one point who was just like, oh, you're thinking about those porn girls while you fuck me. I'm like, that is I'm just wildly turned off by that. Like,
You're like, you know, I'm just happy that my dick's inside a woman right now. That's all I'm thinking.
Right.
About.
Like, I'm obviously here with you. My dick's hard for you. I'm not thinking about anybody else. Like, for you to say that in earnest, that you think like that I'm thinking about someone else while I fuck you, like, just as a turn.
Who was Ernest?
Well,
she was in earnest, or you were in earnest?
She was in earnest, but and he
Ernest P. Worrell.
Yeah,
Ernest
he was in jail.
To camp. Oh shit! My childhood.
Right. Rest in peace, Jim. Jim.
Yeah, Jim Varney.
Yeah, Jim.
You got it.
Rest in peace. Oh yeah, alcohol. Yeah.
Rest in peace, Slink from Toy Story. For you young kids out there.
Right. But that was a fucking turn off for me. Like, I want you to have some self-esteem. I want you to have some fucking confidence. But I'm also not like, if you're, you know, so stuck up, like, why is this dude even talking to you? Like, well, fuck you then. It's got to be.
Oh shit! Hold on, Matt. I just disconnected the headphones.
I still hear you.
Oh man.
Oh shit! Technical difficulties are happening.
Jamie Foxx.
Boom.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you the whole time.
Oh, tight.
Yeah, like
so what do most of your guests do when they have to take a piss, bro?
They go piss.
Like, do they like make you wait? Or do they
Occasionally.
take you to the bathroom?
Both. Are you taking me to the bathroom right now?
Yeah, I got to piss real quick.
Oh, good.
Sorry about that.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, that's cool. This is my bathroom. I got a map of the U.S.
Oh my God, it's the map of the U.S. Oh my God.
I obviously don't give a fuck about the Midwest because I haven't been anywhere on the Midwest.
Dude, Chicago's rad part of the year.
Oh, I have been to, I've been to Chicago.
You have no pin there.
Put it up there? Oh, I need to. I went to the taping of Nils Lofgren's most recent album in Chicago.
Nice.
That he just got snubbed. He should have gotten a Grammy nomination for that because it was incredible.
And Milwaukee, there are some good times to be had in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I believe it or not.
Yeah, I haven't been there. I did go to Denver for my birthday, which is
Denver's
not really
a good fucking time, man.
Denver was like one of my favorite places. It was the last cool thing that me and my baby mama did. We went to see Tame Impala on October 7th. And we got there like 40 minutes into the opening band, which is crazy because like what opening band plays for 40 minutes? But
right.
We got there 40 minutes into the opening band and they only had like 2 songs left. And they were from another country. They were singing in a different language. And I was blown away. I was like, this is incredible. I don't know who the fuck these guys are, but I'm trying to come back tomorrow night. So it was my birthday, October 7th. We saw Tame Impala. It was an incredible show. I was sober the entire night because I really wanted to see it for like the, production aspect of it. And I was like, at the time, my girl, I was like, babe, I'm trying to come back tomorrow night. I'm trying to see this opening band and I'm trying to get destroyed. So we came back the next night. We saw Alton Goon, they're called. I think they're from like Turkey, or they play traditional Turkish folk music incredibly. We saw them and we got super fucked up and watched Tame Impala for the second night in a row in Denver, Colorado. And then we missed our flight home because we were too hungover.
Nice. I got to see Carcass and the Black Dahlia murder last time I was in Denver.
Ooh, Black Dahlia's tight.
Dude, Carcass. Fucking Carcass.
I'm not super familiar with Carcass.
Oh, they're old school death metal. Like, old school British death metal. Like, they had broken up, and, like, this is one of their first tours back in 2014.
No doubt.
And then, like, I had amazing meals in Denver. There's this restaurant called the Buckhorn Exchange. Like, if you're a meat eater, the Buckhorn Exchange is amazing. They do wild game.
I am very much a meat eater.
They have Colorado liquor license number 1.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's been there that long. Amazing dinner.
That's dope.
So like that weekend was just amazing on a lot of levels. Like, I was there with I guess she's technically a performer friend of mine who, like, her and I had been friends for a long time. So I flew her into Denver while I was there, and her and I hooked up for the first time, like, after like fucking amazing meals and brewery tours and fucking like some massive cocktails. So it was just a really good weekend.
Hell yeah.
Really good weekend. Like, oh, I didn't think we were gonna fuck, but we did. Cool. But yeah, like I had a good time in Denver. Like, I need to go back.
Yeah, that's a place I want to go back, but I don't want to go back until we have concerts again. I think that Mission Ballroom is in my like top 10 venues in the country. I really, really like that venue.
I gotta remember where I saw Carcass Black Dahlia. Like, I need to Google like what venue that was, because like it was a fairly small venue. It was a good time.
Yeah, this place was pretty big. Last great small show I went to, I went with Samantha, the owner of the Bikini Bean in Portland, Oregon, to see Temples at Doug Fir Lounge. Doug Fir Lounge?
Don't know it.
Let me just double check that's what it's called.
But I think
it's called Doug Fir Lounge.
As a musician, like, for me personally, like, I am all about like smaller venues versus bigger venues. Like I understand you get mad production value when you do arena shows and do big venues, but like,
I hate arena shows. That's not my style.
I'm right there with you.
My style is like, you know, where like your family goes to see off-Broadway shit. It's like an amphitheater, but okay, Hollywood Bowl size.
See, the bowl's too big for me. I would rather see someone like 1,500 to 3,000 people is like my ideal venue.
Okay, I like that. But Hollywood Bowl is like where I cap out, and it works because it's outdoor. Mission Ballroom is probably like a 3,000 person spot. The 930 Club in DC, I think, is 2,500 or something like that. That's actually funny story. The last live show that I performed as Straight Razor, I opened up for 2 Chainz at 930 Club, and I told my manager, I said, until you get me a show at a better venue, opening for a bigger artist than this, I'm not performing again. And I haven't performed ever since. It was so fucking epic. It was so fun.
See, as a Chicago dude, like venues like the Aragon Ballroom, the Metro, fucking the Riviera, like, or just that's where I feel like
I gotta go to any of those places. I haven't been to any of those places.
Oh, dude, the Aragon Ballroom, the Brawl Room, as we lovingly refer to it as, is started off in like the 20s as like an actual dance hall, and it's got a huge fucking floor, like old school fucking architecture. I saw my first show there. I saw White Zombie, the Reverend Horton Heat, and the Melvins.
Jesus Christ. Your first show was White Zombie?
White Zombie, Reverend Horton Heat, and the Melvins.
I mean, all right. I respect both the Reverend and the Melvins, but White Zombie, man, like that's a crazy, awesome first show to go to.
Astro Creep 2000 tour.
Ugh. So my first show, I feel like a total scrub now. Shout out to Fastball, because I still to this day fuck with Fastball. My first show was Fastball, but all the openers were terrible. So the openers were Blessed Union of Souls. People would have to Google them, but they have a song that you know, and it sucks. I'm sorry. Taylor Dane, 80s pop sensation, awful. And then Edwin McCain. I'll be your crying shoulder. Awful. I mean, no, he was good. It's just not music that I particularly care for. Talent, yes. My style, fuck no. But Fastball destroyed it, and I was a lifelong fan ever since. Man, every album they've put out, I've found something I can like about it. That was my first.
And they're
concert.
one of the most infamous one-hit wonders of all times. Like, most people don't know anything besides The Way.
Which is crazy because the album that they put out after that, the album The Harsh Light of Day, is like one of my favorite rock albums. I would put it up there in my top 10 favorite rock albums of all time. And they don't have a hit on it. But like, as far as like front to back, I could put this shit on and vibe out, whether I'm driving, whether I'm on a walk, whether I'm hanging out with my kid, whether I'm painting, no matter what. Like they have an incredible album, and even their new albums are good too. I actually saw them last year, and they put on a fucking great show, dude. They're really talented.
That's a band I would definitely like to see in person, because like I was a big fan of that song back in the day. Like,
I can't wait until they're like 60 and they let me produce one of their albums, because they don't have anything better to do. It's going to be great.
So on my first show front, what was wild to me, like at the time made sense, but like is wild to me now, the Reverend almost got booed off stage.
Because it was a harder show?
Yeah. Like, it was a metal fucking show.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that makes sense, though. I mean, whoever built that show kind of didn't.
Yeah. Whoever built that tour
it's
an interesting, like, fucking 90s tour. Like,
yeah, but I mean, the people in the 90s that were listening to White Zombie were not listening to the Reverend, and vice versa.
No, definitely not. Like the Melvins barely survived that crowd. Like, the Melvins were like,
the producers of the show were probably like, hey, listen, we need to sell tickets to kids, and we need to sell tickets to their parents.
It was just one of those things where, like, the Melvins made it by because the Melvins, like, have such a fucking unique sound. But, like, you know, the Psychobilly Reverend Horton Heat sound, like, this got to be 94, 95, maybe? Just
God.
yeah, like they almost got put off stage, and like at the time, I didn't respect the Reverend Horton Heat.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm like, if it wasn't metal, I wasn't listening to it at that point.
Right.
I was 100% there for White Zombie, and then in retrospect,
Dude, White Zombie's so tight, man. Like, I don't know. I have a lot of respect for like the late 90s, early 2000s metal, and then even like a lot of the new metal that people clown on. Like, I go back and listen to that shit now, and I'm like, yo, there's some cool shit in here.
I mean, this shit wouldn't have gotten like a metal in the mid 90s was essentially dead. Like, White Zombie had a career because of Beavis and Butthead. White Zombie almost got dropped by their label until the Thunderkiss 65 video was played on Beavis and Butthead. Like, that's how dead metal was in the mid 90s.
I mean, that's unfortunate because I don't fuck with Beavis and Butthead, but I love me some White Zombie.
Right, but that's the thing. Like, at that point, Nirvana, Soundgarden, the Seattle Sound, Pearl Jam.
Yeah, the grunge. The grunge was replacing metal.
Grunge had killed metal.
Yeah.
And then you also had all the fucking glam rock, the glam metal that fucking was garbage.
Which, coming back full circle to where we started this podcast, another forward-thinking thing that I think is cool about the streaming era and about where we are with music now is genres don't really kill each other anymore. It's like the fucking Borg in Star Trek. They just like assimilate each other. They're just like, hey, resistance is futile. This country is now country hip hop pop.
Well, I think part of that is...
It's annoying, but...
It is. But I think part of that is because we live in an era that has less gatekeepers than previous generations. Because at the end of the day, you had tastemakers. You had people like program directors. You only got music from whoever programmed your local radio station or programmed MTV. Now, because of the internet, because of how social media goes, you can be exposed to shit that like no one tells you should like or not.
I agree with you there. I think that I don't know if this is like a who came first, the chicken or the egg type thing, but I think the biggest part of it is that the kids these days are way more accepting than we were and then the generations before us were. Like, the kids these days are like, oh, you identify as like a robot? All right, that's cool with me. Like, let's go eat lunch. But like the kids these days are totally they don't damn the things they don't like we did. I know I did, man. When I was young, it was like, if I don't fuck with that shit, I'm gonna tell you how fucking stupid it is and how you're a loser for liking it. And the kids these days aren't like that.
Dude, I come from metal. Like, I come from a genre where you could be rocking the wrong metal shirt and people would call you a poser. Like,
poser was such a good insult, man.
Like, what?
A lot of people called me a poser, especially in middle school.
Like, what Judas Priest album does that come from? Like, you're a fucking poser. Like, there's no... Metal is the genre of, back in the day, of no acceptance.
Well, to be fair, just playing devil's advocate here, I think that most people these days are posers. I mean, most people are buying their like Pink Floyd shirt from Target and they can't name like 5 Pink Floyd songs. And they're like, yeah, I heard this on the radio with my dad and like, it's got the cool prism. And like, that's why I wear it. Like, our definition of what a poser was, I think is mainstream. I think the posers won.
I don't disagree.
The posers fucking won. We lost, dude.
I've definitely driven some Uber in my day. And like, I picked up a kid wearing a Maiden shirt, late teens, early 20s. I'm like, yo, man, what's your favorite Maiden album? He's just like, I'm just down with the shirt. I'm like, I'm going to play Maiden for you then. Like, I made this kid listen. And, he got down with it. Like,
hell yeah.
It's crazy to me, the idea of wearing a shirt for a band that you've never listened to.
Yeah, I'm going to actually change the subject because I'll start getting the 90s in me will start coming out. I'm not trying to go there.
Oh, no, I want to hear a little of this. Just a taste. Give the audience a little taste. A little bit on the tongue.
I just think it's fucking dumb, man. Like, if you like something, have balls and say you like it. Like, I have no problem. My boy Trevor Thompson will be in here drunk as hell playing Ariana Grande, and we'll be clowning him and calling him a bitch and all types of other shit. But he likes some of her shit, and he will play it when he's fucked up, and he will be like, yo, I like this song. And we're like, yo, you might as well listen to these influences that this song is obviously ripping off. And he's like, well, I like this. And we're like, all right, cool. That is how I feel like people should be. Going to a store and buying a shirt because you know other people like it, like, just screams beta male cuck bitch to me. And I know I sound like
I feel like in a lot of those cases, people are just down with the artwork. Like, they see the fucking rad metal artwork and they're just like,
fail. It's not enough for me, man. I know I sound like a conservative fat, like hater right now, but I'm not trying to be that way. I'm just saying that, like, really, I think that people need to really have the balls to admit what they like. I will walk out of this house tomorrow wearing a Phantom of the Opera, Mark Jacoby, late 80s t-shirt. Like, I will let people know I fuck with Andrew Lloyd Webber and his musical compositions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that there's a certain power that you have in liking what you like and having a reason behind what you like. And I don't know. I feel weird about the fact that Kylie Jenner can rock a shirt and other people will buy that shirt and be like, oh, I don't know this band. I just rock it because I saw somebody else rocking it. And, like, I guess ultimately that's good because they're getting money. You know,
did you see the sales. Like the fucking Kylie Jenner, or one of the Jenners, was wearing a fucking, you know, Slayer Live Undead shirt, and, like, Gary Holt was wearing a Death to a Kardashian shirt. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm referencing right now. I don't know. I'm just too old school for this shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've never worn a metal shirt on a band I've never listened to, not once. Like,
and that's why, like, I never talk shit about metal, but, like, the closest I get to metal in my own personal listening, I mean, I don't even consider really White Zombie to be metal. I consider them to be like their own little horrorcore thing.
No. But White Zombie is definitely metal.
Okay, well, not metal by like what I normally think of.
Like,
I think of
Rob
metal.
Zombie's solo stuff took a different direction, but White Zombie itself was definitely metal.
All right, well, that's what's up. Then I guess I like metal. But for me, the closest I get to that usually is like System of a Down and Deftones are two of my favorite bands of all time. And a lot of people will be like, they're not metal. And I'm like, all right, well, they're loud and they're heavy as fuck. And that's, you know.
Like, as a purist, they fall under nu metal, technically.
Which is crazy, because they are nothing like Stained and Limp Bizkit and Orgy and Korn.
Well, that's a whole bunch of things. Like, Stained doesn't fall into nu metal. Like,
yeah, they do, according to Apple Music.
I'm
just saying, like, you know, when I think of like, I don't think that Tool is any more metal than Deftones is. I think that Tool and Deftones sit in the same wheelhouse. You know what I mean?
Tool's like weird progressive, like Tool's Tool.
Prog rock metal.
Yeah, like, and Deftones is definitely more depending on the album, more nu metal. I'll admit to my audience that, like, I am not as up on the Deftones as I should be, mostly because I lost the Deftones in a divorce.
What do you mean?
Like, one of my big ex-girlfriends bought me a Deftones album, and then when we broke up,
How big?
Like, the big ex, like, bought me a Deftones album.
Like 400 pounds?
Ha ha. Ha 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 ha.
Take a shot. Sorry about that.
Yeah. It's okay. You're a musician, not a comedian. I get it. Yeah. The woman who did some...
Yeah, well, she can't fucking get Deftones, man.
No, but she bought me that Deftones album, and, like, I associate the Diamond Eyes album with her, so, like, I just don't listen to it.
So I'm a White Pony guy. I mean, I like Around the Fur and I like Adrenaline, but White Pony is where I really was like, oh, okay. This is, like, going to be an album I listen to for the rest of my life. I like the new one, too. Ohms is pretty good. Shout out to Chino. Haven't seen him in a while, but shout out to Chino Marino.
Hell yeah. Metal is a genre that, like, goes all over the fucking place. Like, there's not one one little thing that's like that's metal and that's not. Like
Yeah.
it is all over the fucking place. Like, I mean, there's thrash, there's death, there's black. It's all the subgenres of metal are all over the place. And like, as much as people may hate on new metal, people have to fucking give new metal credit for the fact that like it brought metal back towards the mainstream, where like it put new ears on metal. Like,
yeah,
bands like fucking.
Have you listened to King Gizzard at all?
I am not. I'm unaware of King Gizzard.
So King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard are a really cool band that do a lot of different stuff, but they released a kind of, I would say it's a Judas Priest inspired metal album called Infest the Rat's Nest within the last 2 years, and it's pretty fucking good. They're pretty great. They in 2018, I think it was, they released like 5 albums in 1 year. They're like really prolific, and they do a lot of really cool stuff. But yeah, you should check out Infest the Rat's Nest and see if you like that. And then maybe if you like that, you can check out some of their not as hard, but still equally vibey shit.
In 2020, my musical tastes are all over the place. Like, as that rhymed. But
hey,
yeah, no, it took being an adult to start appreciating all this shit. Like, if you've been like, hey, Matt, in 1999, listen to fucking Al Green, I'd be like, fuck you, not metal. Matt in 2020, like, like, let's stay together. Like, I'll listen to Al Green all fucking day. Like, I'll listen to 80s new wave. Like, my tastes are all over the fucking place at this point.
Yeah. No, I think that we all get to that point, honestly. It's crazy watching my kid grow up because, like, I feel like my son was listening to music in his mom's belly for sure, because I was always working on shit and producing shit. We started noticing once he was born, probably around the 3-month mark, that whenever he heard Bruno Mars, there was like a very distinct change. Like, oh, okay, he has stopped whatever it was going on in his brain. He is completely in tune with this. And he became obsessed with Bruno Mars, and then it was Maroon 5, and then it was The Weeknd, and now it's everything, man. I mean, he's not even 3 years old yet. He's got his own playlist, and it's got everything from like rap, like OT the Genesis, to a lot of 70s music. He's got Redbone on there. He's got Lil Wayne, Post Malone, the Ramones. He's got Joji, Tame Impala, 070 Shake, Led Zeppelin, some Italian artists I've never even heard of, like Umberto Tozzi. Bastille's on there. He's got Tayo Cruz and Heart and all types of shit. And basically the way this playlist works is like the baby has certain hours when he's able to watch YouTube. So he'll find like a YouTube video of like, oh, this is a compilation of scenes from the Avengers movies set to a song. And he'll run up to me and, Daddy. I'm like, what? What's this song? And I'll look at it and that's the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. Add it. I'm like, all right. So I put it on his playlist. And he's just come up with this crazy eclectic playlist of all the shit that he likes. And I'm like, damn, I don't think at his age I had the diversity. First of all, I didn't even really get into music until I was like 7. But for me, when I was 7, I was just listening to like the Beatles. That's it. I wasn't listening to anything else. And then slowly I got into like alternative rock, and then new metal, and then rap, and then R&B, and then basically hovered between like rap and R&B for like 6 to 8 years. And then came back around full circle to like, rock music again.
Yeah, I went in like the opposite path. Like I grew up like in a mostly black neighborhood. Like when I graduated middle school, or when I graduated elementary school, I was one of 2 white boys. So like I listened to
Did they call you that?
White boy number 2.
Did they call you white boy?
No.
Hey, white boy. No,
but like
I was just wondering.
where I grew up, like, I listened to a lot of fucking hip hop, like a lot of the hip hop station, like, and then, I was an angry fucking kid. So, like, I started getting into, like, I was really into Public Enemy as a kid. Like,
okay, cool.
Which is completely off message for fucking Public Enemy, but.
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't matter because it's still,
Well, and
I feel like spreading awareness is the message.
If you watch any of the documentaries about Public Enemy, it's like part of their popularity came from white suburban kids.
Part of it? How about like most of it? Yeah.
But like I was definitely up until middle school listening to like a lot of hardcore gangster rap, Public Enemy, and like shit like that. Just because I was angry and like my musical influences were like the black kids around me. So like I got influenced by a lot of fucking hip hop. And then like sometime in the early to mid 90s, I got influenced by fucking metal and then like just never turned back. Like,
so wait, early 90s, Biggie or Pac?
That's mid 90s, man.
Okay, mid 90s. Biggie or Pac?
Pac.
And I don't mean now. I mean like when you were growing up.
When I was growing up, I was actually mostly listening to West Coast gangster rap, like Spice One, fucking the Menace to Society soundtrack was a huge fucking MC8.
Of course. All right.
I like.
So you didn't really have a horse in that race when it was happening.
No,
you didn't really give a shit. All right.
Dr. Dre's The Chronic, fucking Doggy Style from Snoop Dogg, like those. I
always liked Pac. I never really liked Biggie when I was little. When I was little, I liked Pac's voice and delivery and just the way he was so sure of himself. And
I Get Around was like the Pac song that stands out in my head.
Okay, so Troublesome 96 for me. The first time I heard that, I was like, this is the most alpha male I'm gonna fucking eat or fuck. If I can't eat you or fuck you, you have no place in my life. Like, I was like, this is the dopest shit I've ever heard.
See, by 96, like, I had already gone full metal. Like, so 94, I got introduced to Slayer's Divine Intervention. I got introduced to Sepultura's Chaos AD. I got introduced to DSI. Like, I just went metal. Like, I sold all my hip hop albums at like a secondhand store. I'm like, nope, I'm metal now. Like,
I don't think I ever identified. This might be something I'm realizing about myself. I don't think I ever was willing to give up things that I liked for something else that I liked. Like, I was never willing to give up the fact that I liked the Beatles and fucking what I mentioned before, the Phantom of the Opera, in exchange for the fact that then later in life I liked Korn and Good Charlotte or whoever the fuck.
That's something I eventually had to come to, but like,
of course, yeah.
At the time, I was just like, I was all in on being a metalhead. Like,
I think I was just so much of like an outcast that I didn't ever feel like I had to like subscribe to, like, people didn't like me no matter what I did, especially middle school. So I was pulled out of school in 4th grade, spent 5th grade and 6th grade homeschooled with my Jehovah's Witness parents, being completely bubbled, and then came back in 7th grade and was like getting picked on and beat up and shit. And then in 8th grade, one of the really, really popular kids took an interest in me and was like, hey man, like, you should go to a new school next year because everyone here fucking hates you. And when you get to the new school, you should like fucking make fun of the teachers and get sent to the office a lot. And I was like, this sounds a lot like the plot to the movie The New Guy from the late 90s, but all right.
Oh, that movie's horrible.
All right, I'll try it. So I went to a magnet school and literally did that. I literally was like, all right, I'm going to make fun of these teachers and I'm going to be a complete jackass. And everyone fucking loved me. And it worked like a charm. It was weird. I don't know, man. I think we're from a different generation.
For sure. We are. My ass is old.
I still want to know who your porn star, top porn star of all time.
Well, I will tell you in a moment. We're going to call last call on this motherfucker. We're going to sign off, and then I will tell you.
Well, then I'm going to tell you mine. So before I die, I'm going to have intercourse with Mia Malkova. That's going to happen.
All right. I hope it
Yeah.
does.
No, it will.
Before that happens, where can they find you on all the things? Find the label. All
You mean
that
where
shit.
can she find me?
Yeah, where can she find you?
Yeah,
Where?
she can find me in Sparks, Maryland, or in Playa del Rey, California. It's like I'm on Instagram at Trait Razor. Right now, if you go to www.traitrazor.com, you can watch me and Trevor Thompson create beats on our series that is envisioned by Rob Scholar. It's called Type Beat. And basically every week we go in from scratch right in front of the camera and we make a brand new production that ends up on BeatStars for lease and for sale. You can also find me on Facebook. Facebook.com/TraitRazor. If you have a business inquiry, pay TraitRazor@gmail.com. I'm sure he's going to have all the nice little socials up here. And if you want to get some dope ass threads, at TraderThreads.com. If you're a model or an influencer, you can DM our team. We're definitely down to work with people and to work on things. And if you're broke, you can DM me directly and I'll probably give you like a discount code or something. You know what I mean? We like helping people out.
Can my fat ass model something for you?
Oh, bro, what are you, like a 2X? I got you.
Oh, shit. I don't think I'm that fat these days.
I don't even think a 2X is that big. Is that big? This is America.
Oh, shit. Well, in the meantime, while we figure out my weight problems, you can find me at Matt_Slayer on Twitter, Matt Slayer on Instagram, Matt F. and Slayer on Facebook, twitch.tv/Matt F. and Slayer for the gaming bullshit. You can find the podcast at And Now We Drink on Twitter, and Now We Drink _ on Instagram. And until next week, drink up, motherfuckers.
Good night, guys.